Honoré Daumier was born on February 26, 1808, in Marseille, France. He was the son of a poet and playwright, who had years of feast and famine like most artists. Monsieur Daumier first worked in 1820 as an errand boy at a bailiff's office, and a year later became an assistant at Delaney's bookshop located at the Palais Royal. It is here that he first started to draw. Daumier was born in the wake of the French Revolution, and the nature of the times he lived in greatly affected his art. Throughout his life, France was in the throes of transitioning from a monarchy to a republic. Laws were passed that banned artists from criticizing the king, and Daumier even went to jail for a short time for his political cartoon criticizing the monarch. Honoré Daumier produced close to 10,000 pieces of work during his life, from drawings, paintings, watercolors, lithographs, woodcuts, and sculptures. Daumier's work was relatable to the common folk of his day. His subject matter ranged from political satire, courtroom drama, street performers, and laborers, while many of his contemporaries focused on portraiture and mythology. Daumier showed an equal disdain for the ruling class, kings, courtrooms, and lawyers, while being honest to the human experience of living on the streets of Paris in revolutionary France. However, these are facts you can find in any internet search, and that is not the focus of my discussion today. To this day, Daumier is one of my favorite artists. I have studied his work, even copied his work as an exercise to learn. And then one day it dawned on me. Daumier, if he were alive today, he would be an animator, or be working in the animation industry, maybe as a character designer. His work encapsulates many principles of animation that I wish to explore today. There are many definitions to animation. For myself, it is breathing life in an act of creation through art. This may sound a little grandiose, so on a more technical level, through a series of successive drawings, or puppets, or anything filmed at 24 frames per second, we can convey the illusion of movement, the illusion of life. Character animation is storytelling. We are attempting to construct believable emotional performances, whether it is on a piece of paper or inside a computer. The foundation of strong character animation is gesture drawing and shape design, filtered through the lens of the character we are portraying. Animators are actors, and our characters are our proxies. Gesture drawings are quick sketches from 30 seconds to 2 minutes, where we try to capture the essential energy and emotion of the model, be it clothed or nude. There is always a strong line of action within the form, and a consistent language of shapes within the drawing itself, or a continuity of design. Every part of the drawing belongs, and reinforces the whole. Animators, when we are drawing our characters, must work fast to capture this essential energy and emotion. We have deadlines, and so quick work is essential, or we miss our deadlines and lose our jobs. That's the reality. Daumier was famous for his political cartoons and sculptures. He was adept at finding the caricature of his subject and exaggerated them to maximum effect. As mentioned earlier, he was so good at his work, he was thrown in jail in 1832-33 for 5 months and charged 500 francs for insulting King Louis-Philippe in a piece called Gargantua. Daumier, like many artists of his time, had a problem with the excesses of the monarchy. Animators are storytellers, and Daumier was no exception. There are several examples of this in his work. One of my favorite is an oil painting entitled Crispin and Scapin, done in 1863 to 65. Crispin and Scapin are clever and mischievous servants from the Italian and French comedic tradition. This single image tells us a great deal about who these characters are and their intentions. As a viewer, we are inspired to ask questions. What or who are they talking about? What is their plan? What is going to happen next? This image could be a great piece of concept art for a film. If anything, it could be right out of Cirque du Soleil. The principles of animation, as outlined by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston in the seminal book The Illusion of Life from 1981, are as follows: squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, straight ahead and pose to pose, follow through and overlapping action, slow in and slow out, arcs of motion, secondary action, timing and spacing, exaggeration, solid drawing, and appeal. In no particular order, let's explore Daumier's body of work and see how he naturally embraces these principles. Solid drawing and pose to pose, or posing. Daumier was trained in the classical academic tradition and showed an inherent understanding of anatomy, the use of value, light and dark, to convey volume and space, and an understanding of the 7 classical folds of clothing as they drape upon the human form. Strong posing is essential. Animators call the fundamental poses of a scene the key or storytelling poses. Daumier had an instinct to capture a fundamental pose which told the story in his work. He captured a moment in time, filled with movement, intent, and character. Exaggeration. Animation can bend the rules of normal perception to convey a feeling. Poses can be pushed, expressions taken to greater extremes for the sake of character, and Daumier's work is full of exaggeration. Caricatures are based on exaggeration, and Daumier's many political cartoons and sculptures are filled with purpose to heighten expression. Daumier would have made a great character designer. He was a natural. Staging. Clear composition of any given frame is crucial to tell the story in animation, and Daumier demonstrates time and time again in his drawings, lithographs, woodcuts, and paintings. He purposely directs the viewer's eye to where he wants you to look, another example of his classical training in the academy. Arcs of motion. Everything organic moves in an arc, and Daumier clearly understood this in his posing and composition. Arcs were used to create flow, movement, and direct the eye in a composition, much like how an animator designs a pose. Daumier used arcs with a character or composition to tell a story. Appeal. Many of these animation principles overlap, and Daumier's appeal in his work is no exception. His wonderful sense of design in his caricatures and cartoons tells us a story and are filled with personality, whether beautiful or grotesque. Timing and spacing. As animators, timing and spacing are the lifeblood of animation. We construct our designed and appealing storytelling poses over a range of frames, which would be the timing, and then break those poses down to best describe how we move from pose to pose, which would be the spacing. Daumier was not animating multiple frames in his work, but there is an implied movement to his body of work, where we capture a moment in time that tells us a story. His posing in his work could be considered key drawings that an animator could use to build a scene. Daumier was prolific in his use of animation principles over a century before they were codified in a text by two of the great Disney animators, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. Honoré Daumier was an artist with incredible verisimilitude. His work was gestural, character-driven, and rich in narrative. He expressed himself across multiple creative disciplines and earned the respect of his contemporaries. He embodied creative principles that would later be the foundation of a strong animation workflow. If Daumier were alive today, you might find him working on a Cintiq, storyboarding for TV, animating for film, or designing characters. He might even run a Patreon teaching students, or host a YouTube channel sharing his insights. Honoré Daumier was truly an animator before his time. Thank you for your interest in Honoré Daumier's life and art. If you would like me to drill deeper into his large body of work, please leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.